Hello everybody and welcome to yet another vlog in my backyard. You may be wondering, like, Grotesque, didn't you just do a video like this recently? And yes, but I kind of just wanted to make another one because I have some things to talk about with you guys. So first things first, this is the first time that I'm using like my vloggy tripod stick thing, and wow, yeah, it helps a lot. I don't know why I didn't think to use this thing sooner. But also, yeah, there's some other exciting things going on that we'll just kind of go ahead and talk about right now. So first things first, the sun is absolutely blinding me, so if I look more Asian than usual, that's why. But also, today marks 16 months sober for me, aka 1 year and 4 months. Now, not to get too trauma dumpy here, but just to kind of give some of my story for those that are unaware. For about 10 years, I was like smoking cigarettes, and then later on got into drinking and some hardcore drugs and pills and whatnot, and it was just not good. It was genuinely terrible. It's the worst I had ever felt. I overdosed like 2 or 3 different times, and I was just a completely different person back then. You know what I mean? I was an addict. I was an asshole, and I would literally do anything just to get another drink, because there was a point where I was literally drunk for basically 3 months straight. I'd wake up with a bottle, go around sipping all day, and then go to bed with a bottle, wake up in the middle of the night to drink a bit more, and just keep the cycle going. And then there came a point in time where just drinking wasn't enough for me, so then I started dabbling with other hardcore drugs beyond just basic marijuana. And I don't want to get into the specifics right now. I don't even know if that stuff's necessarily YouTube friendly, so better that I don't say any of that here. But I was experimenting with some pretty heavy stuff, and started combining pills with the drinks, and it was just bad. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of my teenage years. Thankfully, I can say that I remember my 20s and whatnot, but it's sort of just like, I don't know, man. There's just like this weird gap for me where it's like, okay, yeah, I remember my childhood. I remember the first bit of like preteen years, and then I don't know, man. Everything from like 14 onwards is just the blur. I started experimenting with alcohol and other substances when I was about 11 or 12 years old, started going like even deeper in it by the time I was like 12 to 13. And then from like 13 onwards, yeah, that's when it got really bad. I remember when I was, I believe that, yeah, that would have been when I was 13. I ended up smoking something that was laced, and I got so messed up that every time that I would blink, I'd wake up somewhere else, because like, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't know what it was laced with, but like when I looked outside, right, I could see the hills like moving, and I couldn't even keep my head up. I was basically just like stuck like this, right, with like my eyes closed, mouth kind of like half open like that, and I look around just sort of like that, extreme dry mouth, heart pounding for a bit, and then I blink, and like 15-30 minutes would pass, and then I blink, and it would happen again. Everything was just all messed up, and then I woke up the next day, and like, I don't even know what happened, man. I just felt like a zombie, just like totally detached. And that was when I was 13. And the scary part is, for most people, that'll be like, whoa, that was a really bad trip. I don't know if I want to do that again. But for me, that was like, damn, that was actually kind of fun. So then, just kind of went on from there. I was such a bad alcoholic too, because alcohol was always like my main thing. Alcohol and nicotine, it was like, okay, cigarettes were just like a constant throughout the entire day. And then alcohol was basically just whenever I could do it. Oh, I was out. All right, we're going to put the vodka in the water bottle. Oh, I'm going to a restaurant. All right, let's mix the Jack with the Coke, so then everybody thinks that I'm just sipping on a Coke. You know what I mean? And I was not a fun alcoholic to be around, because I was a fucking dick. Not even gonna lie, dude. I hurt a lot of people in my life just because I was such a fucking asshole when I was drinking. I mean, there was times where I was kind of just goofy instead, but usually when I was drinking, it was out of self-hatred and self-pessimism, and I'd get so fucking plastered that I couldn't stand on my own 2 feet. I would just be like stumbling around, falling into the door. I remember there was multiple times, because in my old house there was this door that led to the outback, right? It was like one of those rather flimsy white doors, not like a full-on one, just like a screen door or whatever they call it. And there was literally a dent in it, because I used to get so drunk, and every time I'd go outside, I'd fucking fall into it. So, I mean, it's not really funny, but I mean, it kind of is. Like a drunk Nathan just fucking full on stumbling into it, going outside, fucking standing there like this, fucking chain smoking or whatever. Because I'd smoke like crazy whenever I drink. That's just sort of a common thing. For some reason, I guess because nicotine's a stimulant and alcohol is a depressant, those two are just one hell of a toxic combination when you're drinking. And you're more drawn to each one as you interact with the other. So the more you drink, the more you want to smoke. The more you smoke, the more you want to drink. It's just a toxic combo. And, knowing me, I'm the type of person with my addictions where I never had limits. It was like, okay, if I'm going to smoke 1 cigarette, I'm going to smoke 2. And then I'm going to smoke 3. And then there's a pack gone in about, a couple hours. And then with alcohol, it's the same thing. It's like, why drink 1 beer when I can drink 6? You know what I mean? And, like, I don't even say that to be funny. That's just literally how it was. It's like, if I'm going to drink a 40 ounce, I'm going to drink the entire 40 ounce, take a couple shots of Jack, and then see where my gut's at, basically. Like, it was, yeah, it wasn't good. But I used to get so messed up, man. And I feel bad for all of the friends that I had back then because I was just such an awful person to be around because I was either like I said, it was either there was a few different types of my drunkenness. It was either a maintaining drunk, which that would have been more like the time when I was drunk for 3 months straight, because basically what had happened was I was essentially homeless for like 3 months. Me and my mom got into a really bad fight, and we just weren't able to really be in the same house anymore. We just weren't really able to like tolerate each other. So for that summer, I basically just went off and just kind of like went out with my friends and whatnot. And I was just like all over the craziest part of town. I was basically holed up. I won't say his name, but my one buddy Jay, we'll call him. I was basically living with him for a few months, and it was like the craziest few months of my life because I'd just go out during the day, come back to crash at his place, then I go out and do different things. I mean, I'd stay there and hang out with him from time to time, but I mean, I was out just like trying to make ends meet, you know what I mean? I'd be out like finding different ways to make money, selling drugs. I was hanging out with literal criminals, people that had their warrants out, people that were like smoking crack and, doing all this crazy stuff and, just like cracking out everywhere they went, having to lay low when the cops come by because they all had warrants, doing shady deals at the worst parts of town just to get enough money to get some fucking chicken tenders from Royal Farms, you know what I mean? I actually remember one of my friends that I used to hang out with, I was going to go to their place for a bit, but then for some reason I just ended up not doing it, and it's a good thing that I didn't because apparently the people that lived there were robbed at gunpoint. So, there's a chance that if I would have went there, I wouldn't be here right now making this video. But yeah, man, during that few month period where I was essentially homeless for a while, just trying to live, try to survive, again, that was the point where I was like drinking nonstop. I'd wake up and I was walking around town with the Jack and Coke bottles, with the water bottles full of vodka and whatnot. I barely drank any water. I had some water, but I was basically just living off of alcohol and cigarettes. Lord only knows how dehydrated I was. And for me, it was always like, okay, I'm either maintaining and I'm just sort of existing in this drunken state, not really feeling myself, just kind of trying to get through the day, or I was an absolute dick, like starting fights with people, swinging on people, or I was just depressed out of my fucking mind, which honestly was usually the one. I was usually like 70% of the time when I was drunk, that was it. It was like not even 70, I'd say 80%. Anybody that knows me back then knows this. I'd get so fucking plastered just because I hated myself, and I debated on ending my life like literally every single day. And the only thing that kept me from doing that, or at the time what I thought was keeping me from doing that, was getting absolutely shit-faced plastered. But looking back and knowing that alcohol is a depressant, it was definitely just making me feel worse. So I'd sit there just drowning in my own fucking tears, like literally like choking on my tears because of how hard I'd be crying, talking about how much I hate myself and how much I want to end my life and how much I just felt like a fuck up. Like I just sit there and like, I'm so thankful to the friends that I had back then, because I had two friends that I constantly hung out with, and they were like the only two people I knew that would really deal with me when I was drunk. There was another person I knew that I still keep in touch with that would have dealt with me when I was drunk. He just, we just ended up not hanging out as often as the other two, but the other two especially really dealt with me. And my buddy Jay especially, man, he was there for like basically, like, out of anybody in my friend group, Jay is the one that was there basically every single time because he lived really close to me. It was like not even a 5-minute walk away to his house. So he was constantly there. Whenever I was drunk, he'd come over. When I was about to drink, he'd come over, and he was just always there with me, even if it was just something as simple as sort of like sitting in the quiet with me while I just kind of thought about everything and vented my emotions, and then go off to make some music or whatever, because that was another way I coped with everything, which is funny because it's kind of come full circle because now I'm back to making music and whatnot, which that's something I actually want to talk about in a bit. He just sit there and just be like, just make sure I didn't do anything stupid. There was a few times I tried to do something really stupid, and there was one time actually back when I was 14 where I tried to, and Jay was a huge part of why I'm still here right now, and that was actually one of the worst ones yet, because I actually ended up getting locked up in a mental hospital for a few weeks after that. I was there for about 2 weeks. They tried pumping me full of meds and make me feel normal again, but nothing was really doing it. And as soon as I got out, I was back to smoking and drinking and whatnot. And I'm sorry. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, so talking about this stuff kind of messes me up. I'm starting to feel a little weird. But yeah, so the mental hospital didn't do a whole lot of good for me. As soon as I got out, I was just back to doing what I did before, but a lot worse. But fast forwarding a little bit before I trigger my PTSD attacks, I'm starting to really not feel good. I'm feeling, obviously I'm a lot better now. I've been sober for a year. Let's just get back on track here. I've been sober for 16 months, off the cigarettes, off the drinks, off of everything, 100% sober. I don't do anything more than like water and soda now. You know what I mean? So I feel a lot better. I'm in a much better place. And yeah, You know, standing outside here in the morning in the nice blue and sunny sky, clouds overhead. It's honestly the best that I've ever felt. Is there still some things that I got to work on? Sure. Every human, every person always has things they need to work on, things they wish they could change, or things they feel like they could improve. But in terms of overall well-being and day-to-day happiness and day-to-day like purpose of like, okay, I know what I need to do, and I feel like I can not only get through today, but I want to get through today to see what tomorrow has in store. Yeah, this is genuinely the best that I've felt ever. And it's like, I feel like this is the first year where I've been able to just stand outside, look around. Like I look around at all the trees and the blue skies, and I'm like, life is beautiful. Life really is what you make it. Because if you tell yourself that life is a big pile of shit, which to an extent it can be, and you just focus on all the negativity, then yeah, of course it's just going to seem like a blanket pile of shit, you know what I mean? But when you take the time to actually just slow down and look around and be like, you know what? Sure, there's always going to be shit. There's always going to be darkness that tries to interfere with the light. I mean, literally, look at this wall right here. You see the sunlight poking through, but you see the shadows. The shadows is the darkness, and you also see the sunlight. You know, that's a part of life. You can't have lightness without dark, because as I always say, what is darkness without light, and what is light without darkness? You know what I mean? You need that balance. And it's up to you to change your perception of life and focus on the positivity. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy because, you know, I was in therapy for many years. I've talked to dozens of therapists and doctors and whatnot. And, you know, even though I always say, oh, therapy doesn't work, there's a few things I hung on to. Even if all of it didn't stick, there's a few things. And one of them was that self-fulfilling prophecy thing, which always stuck with me. It's like, if you tell yourself something's going to go bad, it will go bad. But if you take a minute to give yourself a bit of mercy and be like, you know what, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe it'll go all right this time. And chances are it'll actually go all right that time. And that's what I started doing a few years ago, you know, even when I was in the midst of basically dying again. I've had so many stints of that in my life. And it's always self-inflicted. Anytime that I've almost died in my life, it's been self-inflicted. Like the time that I was less than 90 pounds, like 4 years ago, and I almost died because my body was shutting down, self-inflicted. The time that my body was shutting down again earlier this year because of my eating disorder, self-inflicted. All my addictions, self-inflicted. But I can also tell you what else is self-inflicted. Me getting clean, me choosing to stay clean, me choosing love over hate, me choosing to forgive everyone in my life that has ever hurt me, and realizing that hating somebody or something does nothing but suck energy from me. It takes so much more energy out of you to hate somebody or something than it does to just forgive and let go. Or at the very least to forgive, learn a lesson, and move on. You know what I mean? Whether it be forgiving somebody else, forgiving yourself for mistakes that you made in the past, because I have a huge problem with that, where, you know, I think about like certain mistakes that I've made in the past, certain ways that I may have hurt other people, or certain ways that I might have, you know, just had a negative impact on people. Like even if it was something like what I was talking about before with my addictions, where I get like stupid shit-faced drunk, and my buddy Jay would just have to sit there and just listen to me go on and just, you know, waste time on me that he could have spent doing literally anything else. You know what I mean? So there's stuff like that. Like there's a lot of stuff like that, especially from that time period, where I wish I could change. And dear heavens, there's so many things that I can't even remember that I'm sure happened that I wish I could change, but I couldn't even tell you if they happened or not, because I can't remember half of that stuff, man. So if there's one last thing I could say before I move on to my next topic for this video, it's that it's never too late. And, you know, if you're going through an addiction currently, like whether you're in the midst of it, whether you're trying to recover, it doesn't matter what it is, you can do this. Personally, how I did it is I just went cold turkey and binged a bunch of video games. That's what got me through it. You know, it'll be on a person-to-person basis as to what'll work for you. You know, going cold turkey may or may not work, or you might need a different strategy, or maybe you need to go to rehab, but it doesn't matter what that is. Just do whatever you need to get clean, because living your life through the veil of intoxication isn't living. That is just getting by. That is just surviving. And surviving isn't living. You need to live. And when you're constantly under the influence of whatever the hell you're on, anything that isn't completely sober is you wasting your life. Does moderation exist? Yes, but that's a conversation for a different day. We're not here to talk about moderation. We're here to talk about like the people like me that are like so deep in the addiction and have no self-control when it comes to that stuff. You're not living. You're just surviving, getting by, not really. But deep down, I'm sure you already knew that. Just know that I love you. I'm proud of you for making it to another day, but you know, there's no right day to get clean. If you're watching this video, now's the time. Will it be easy? Heck no, dude. Far from easy, man. It's been over a year for me, and I still have, I'm not even gonna lie, man, even some days I still have those cravings where it's like, oh man, you know, puffing a cigarette or having a beer right now would be nice, but I didn't come this far to get back in. And when you get back in once and you get back in twice and you get back in 3 times and then you're right back where you were, and it's never worth it. It's the easy way out. Living life through the veil of that stuff isn't living. It's taking the easy way out. It's like, okay, here's a temporary solution to other problems. You know what I mean? The only way to resolve your problems in life is to actually step up and resolve them. That's the only way to get it done. Now, before we carry on with this conversation, it's starting to get a bit hot and humid out here, and I really don't like it. It's making me feel a little funky. I don't do good with varying temperatures, so we're gonna go back in my room to finish this video actually, because I got one last thing I want to talk to you guys about. You can tell when I'm getting tired and when my body's giving out, because that's when my eyes start to naturally half close a little bit. Because that's what I was saying out there, man. I don't do good with varying temperatures. My body's ugh, and it's still early in the morning, and since I'm still in eating disorder recovery, my body's really sensitive in the morning until I start getting in all the calories and whatnot that I need, because I'm only had breakfast and a smoothie so far. So my body's bro, we need more energy before we be out here doing all this. I can't wait until I'm just fully better though. I'm kind of tired of just waking up every day and still kind of feeling like a zombie. I'm 5 months into my eating disorder recovery. I'm definitely getting better, but I was restricting for I was restricting for 2 years basically, until I had my first stint where I was less than 90 pounds, felt like I was going to die. My body was literally shutting down on me. And then I got better for 11 months, but it was complicated because I was recovering for 11 months, but I was only there was only 11 months. And then as soon as I was done with that at the end of 2022, I went right back to my ways. So then I went through another 2 years of restriction. And now, it's just now my body's catching up after basically 5 to 6 years of just nonstop restriction and punishing myself for one reason or another. So, yeah, even though I'm 5 months deep, I still got a bit to go, and it just sucks, man. I can't wait till I'm better, but, that's how it goes. Day at a time and all of that. I know I didn't get through these 5 months for nothing. I'll feel better eventually. I'm already looking a bit better and whatnot, but still got a bit to go. But the other thing I wanted to tell you guys about is that my first single for my upcoming album, Survivor, is officially available to pre-save / pre-order / pre-download on Spotify, iTunes, and literally anywhere else that you listen to music. Apple Music, wherever. The single will be releasing July 4th, and yeah, that's a little over a week away, so you can go pre-save it, pre-download it. I have that single coming out July 4th, and I'm thinking I'll push out another one sometime in August, September, something like that. Maybe late August, I'll push out one more single, and then that'll kind of take us on the final lead up to the full album's release, October 26th, which is actually 4 months away from today, and it's also my birthday, October 26th, so I figured since it's an album all about me, releasing it on my birthday, it would be pretty poetic, just makes sense. So I'm really excited for that, obviously. But anyway, yeah, I think that's where we'll call it for this video. I know this video was, definitely a lot different from usual, just kind of, opening up and just kind of being honest with a lot of stuff. But, it's just one of those things where I feel like it's necessary to talk about where I've been and the things I've been through in order to, show people where I'm at, and the fact that hey, no matter what's going on in your life, it is always possible to turn things around and, get to where you need to be and just live a better life. Because while yes, I was doing all the things that I shouldn't have been, getting wrapped up in all these addictions and whatnot, it's, nowadays you couldn't even tell that person was me at one point, right? I'm just the dude that sits inside playing video games, binging anime, making YouTube videos, making music, and just living his best life. You know what I mean? And, that kind of lifestyle is never out of reach for anybody. It's never too late to live the happy life that you truly want to live. You just gotta be honest with yourself and admit to yourself, hey, I'm not happy. I'm not in the best place right now. I'm not doing the things that I should be. I'm hurting myself more than helping myself here, and I need to get better. And once you can admit that to yourself, and once you realize what steps you need to take to make change and how to get better, then it's only going to get better from there. So keep your head up. I believe in you. I love all of you. And no matter what it is, any of you can do anything that you set your mind to, as long as you actually set your mind to it. But anyways, I think that's where we'll call it for this video. So anyways, as always, a massive shout out to all the patrons and channel members. Thank you to all of you in the low baller tier, and an even bigger shout out to all of you in the big baller tier, Melillas King, and Make Daddy Manny, and the biggest shout out to all in the D tier, run events on the Chico. Thank you guys so much. You guys are literal legends. I love you. Have an amazing day. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.